Hey guys, what's up? It's Anish here today with a card trick where the spectator manages to find their own card. Personally, I find these kind of tricks the best because the spectator is both satisfied and surprised at the end at the fact that they were able to find the card, almost making them the magician, right? So, with that being said, if you like the content I post on this channel, please do like and support to subscribe to show me that support. I messed that up. And with that being said, let's get straight into the trick. Okay, so today I'm going to take the deck of cards and I'm going to be showing you a trick that is both simple but effective at the same time. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to ask the spectator to give these cards a shuffle. They could go ahead and give it whatever shuffle they like. And once they're done with it, I'm going to take back the deck of cards and I'm going to ask them to pick any card of their choice. I could spread the cards out on the table or show it in my hands and ask them to pick any card of their choice. Let's suppose they pick this card. Okay, a disclaimer, I'm bad at showing cards to the camera. I can't figure out the angle for some reason, but I hope you could see that, hopefully. Okay, great. I didn't look at the card, I promise. So basically what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the card and I'm going to put it roughly in the middle of the deck. As you can see, it went into the deck, and on top of this we could go ahead, deal a few cuts to the deck. We could give it a riffle shuffle, anything to just really lose the card in the middle of the deck, because that's the purpose of all the shuffling. So yeah, we could go ahead and give a few cuts, and after that now we're going to be moving on to our next part of the trick. Okay, so in this next part I'm going to start dealing cards down one at a time, face up, like so. And at any point, I want you to be looking at the cards. If your card comes up, don't tell me right now, but I want you to call stop at any time you want, okay? I'm just going to start dealing cards, and at any point you want, you could go ahead and tell stop. Okay, let's suppose you say stop there. It could really be at any point. I just don't have a spectator, so I don't have anybody to ask. Tell me to stop dealing. So I'm going to go ahead, take this card, and deal it face down, okay? And it seems to be taking quite a while, so I'm just going to take a packet of cards like so, and I'm going to go through the cards, and you need to tell me whether your card is in here somewhere, whether you see your card anywhere. Go ahead and just, once I'm done showing the packet of cards, did you see your card anywhere? I'm supposing you didn't. What about this packet? Let's take a smaller packet. Let's go through the packet. What about somewhere over here? Can you see your card anywhere? No? You can't see your card? Not even here as well? What about this packet? No? You can't see your card anywhere? What? But what? You saw all the cards, right? But wait a second. You didn't see one card. And that was the card you asked me to stop in. That card which I put face down. Let's go through the deck and let's hopefully find that card that I put face down in the deck. That you put face down in the deck. You asked me to stop at any point. I'm going to turn this card around, and to everybody's surprise, that is your card, the Four of Spades. At least I think it is. I don't know, I have to check the recording to find out. Okay, so let's get on with the tutorial. This trick is really fun to perform because it works, and it works like a charm, and at the same time it's very easy to do. So, let's go ahead, give the cards a few cuts. You could give it to the spectator, ask them to shuffle, and then you spread out the cards to them, ask them to pick any card of their choice. It's a free choice. They could go ahead and see it, and to make this trick more effective, I'm not going to be looking at the card. So it's the Ace of Hearts. It's the tutorial, of course I'm going to look at the card, but during the performance, don't do that. So, using the Ace of Hearts, now we're going to put it into the deck, but we're going to control the card to the top, and there's multiple ways in which you could control the card to the top. I'll show you one or two, and you can implement any way you like. So the one in the performance, the one I did was, I put the card into the middle of the deck, and then as I push it inwards, I kind of push down with my thumb like so, as I'm pushing into the deck, forming a thumb break. So you could see that separation there, right, between the top and bottom portions of the deck. I'm forming a thumb break by pushing down on that card. So whenever you have a thumb break, it's awesome because you could shift it into a left-hand pinky break, like so. Using your pinky, you could hold on to the card. And after that, you could simply deal 3 cuts. The first cut being the top half of the top deck, the second cut being the second half of the top deck, and the last cut being the bottom portion of the deck, meaning this card, our top card, is now the Ace of Hearts. We've controlled it to the top. So I'll show you that one last time, but in slow speed. So I'm going to put it into the deck, I'm going to push down, get a left-hand pinky break, I go 1, 2, and bottom packet. Great, so we've controlled it to the top. On top of this, you could go ahead, riffle the cards, it doesn't matter, just make sure you retain the Ace of Hearts at the top. And that is it. Why is there a face-up card here? That was not supposed to be there. Okay, the second way you could do this, I learned this from a Chris Ramsey video. He's another magician, and I don't know if the angle works, but I'll give it a shot. So go watch the tutorial if you like this. It's just a card forced to the top of the deck. You place the card in the middle, and you show the spectator the card, the Ace of Hearts, and just to make sure that it's their card, you go ahead and push it into the deck, and just like that, it comes to the top, right? This is a really effective force, and people don't see that. So the trick to doing this, I'll just teach you in brief, but if you want a more detailed tutorial, I suggest you check his tutorial out. All you do is you put the card in the middle of the packet, and when you're going to show it to the spectator, let me show you a back view. I feel like that will be more useful. When you show it to the spectator, when you're showing that side, you basically hold on to this top packet above this Ace of Hearts. You slide it back, right? You slide it back until it goes below the Ace of Hearts, the bottom of the Ace of Hearts, and then you simply take the first card, right? The first card of this top deck, and you slide it underneath this Ace of Hearts. And then all you do, as you're coming back down, you're going to square everything up, and if you put a bit of force while you're pushing that top deck down, a random card would pop out, and you could just act like that's the Ace of Hearts and you're pushing it inside. So in full speed that would look like, okay, my mat keeps moving, okay. In full speed that'll look like the Ace of Hearts. I'm going to take it. This is in fact the Ace of Hearts, correct? And then they say yes. Look at that, that's some random card that we don't even care about. We could just push that card into the middle of the packet, when in reality, the Ace of Hearts is on top. That's another control. You could give it a shot. If you like it, then implement it into your trick. So once you're done with the control, the next part of the trick involves you moving this card to the middle of the deck and getting a thumb break. So how I did this in the performance was I did 1, 2, 3, and I simply held a pinky break. You could do this if you find it easier. You deal 1 cut. The second cut, you deal it a bit out-jogged, like to the front, but from this view, if you're doing it quickly, they can't see it. Second cut and third cut, so you're like this, and as you're squaring up the deck, just lift it a bit upwards and pull it back so that you could hold a pinky break. That's another way, that's the easier way to do it. So, now moving on to the main part of the trick. You start dealing cards one by one, and you tell them, okay, keep looking out for the cards. If you see your card at the moment, don't tell me. But what I want you doing is I want you calling stop at any random point, whatever point it feels right to you. Then you start dealing cards down one by one, and wait for a few cards to pass. They're definitely going to say stop at one point. So let's suppose they say stop right there, okay? So this card is actually not their card. It's not the Ace of Hearts. It's some random card. But that doesn't matter, okay? Because you'll understand how we get it in the next part of the trick, but just saying that this isn't their card, you're going to say, okay, you call stop on this card, I'm going to place this face down. And you continue dealing a few more cards, like 3 or 4 or 5 more cards. Like, okay, this is taking too long. I'm going to try a different approach. I'm just going to be taking a packet of cards, and I'm going to show you whether your card is in there. Just tell me if it's in there or not, okay? And so, what you do is you act like you're taking up a packet, but in reality, you're just taking up this packet above the pinky break. So you're taking this, and you turn this packet around like so. Okay, you turn it around like so, and you leave some space on the bottom between the first packet and between the first packet, which is now turned over, and the second bottom packet. So now what you're going to do, as you're squaring up the deck, you want to try and push, as you're squaring up the deck, you want to try and push this card a bit forward, just the top card, because this top card right now is the Ace of Hearts. That's their card. So as you turn it around, just try pushing the card a bit forward and then holding onto it along with the top packet as you bring it up. Right? If that makes sense, you should, oh shoot, I messed it up. Yeah, you should end up with the Ace of Hearts on top. Let me show you one more time in speed. I feel like I'll perform better with speed. So basically all you're doing is you have this packet, you're like, okay, I'm just gonna take more cards, I'm gonna show you. Okay, so, and just like that, I'm just pushing the card underneath and I'm loading it into there. A bit of practice in front of the mirror, that should get you going with that. And now you have the Ace of Hearts loaded. So you go ahead and you show the cards to them and you say, do you see your card anywhere? Just make sure not to flash that face down card at the end. It's safer to stop even like 3 cards down. You don't need to show everything just to be safe. And you just show them, do you see your card anywhere? They would obviously say no because their card is down there. Say, okay, let me put that on the top. So now we've just very easily loaded the Ace of Hearts face down onto the deck. And now you repeat the same thing with 2 more packets. You show them, they're going to say no, you put it on the top. You're going to show them, they say no again, you're going to put it on the top. And then you're going to act confused. Wait a second, what? I showed you all the cards, it doesn't make any sense. Now, and then the spectator is going to realize that they said stop on one card and that was face down. And if you're going to if you take a few seconds and they still haven't said it, then you say it yourself. You just say, wait a second, we stopped at 1 card. You said stop at 1 card and I put that face down. And then you start going through the deck. And now the coolest thing is, it doesn't matter that they said stop at a different card, because when we go from here, we're going to end up on the spectator's card before we end up on this random card, right? We're going to end up on the spectator's actual card before we end up on the random card. So we're going to go through the cards. Just make sure not to push too quickly, because that's going to reveal that card as well. Make sure to push slowly, take your time, and say, just fill it in with some filler lines just to keep them occupied. And then just go ahead and show them this card, stop immediately, put the rest of the deck aside, take this card out, and then end it with whatever words you want. You chose the card, you told me where to stop, this was completely your choice. And somehow, out of the 52 cards in the deck, you managed to land on the Ace of Hearts, which is your card. Which means you now have 1 other face down card in the deck, but that doesn't really matter. After the trick is over, you could just turn around and change that later if you want. Great, so that was the trick. It was a really fun trick to perform, and it really gets a lot of excited and surprised reactions out of my audience. So guys, please do like and subscribe if you like the content that I post, and learn these tricks, teach them to your friends as well, and I hope you have a great day. See you all later. Bye.